Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me well? Yeah. How is going? So today we will talk about how to create your own VPN server in your Azure account. Uh, it will be like a real life example. So I will describe the problem and I will describe how I came to that solution and what it is for. And first of all, let me introduce myself. Um, so I am. My name is Sergei Pavliukovich. I am a software developer and architect. So for now, I'm working on Blacksoft. Before, I've been working at Microsoft as a premier field engineer. So I have some experience consulting different customers, enterprise level customers, and different projects and different solutions. My specialization is Microsoft stack, obviously. Uh, Also, I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and I have some experience in development for more than 15 years already. Uh, so what about the problem of this particular demo? Um, it seems like it's something easier when we think about the VPN solution. So we can buy a service and a public service, for example, a subscription, and connect it as we need. Uh, or or maybe you can think that okay, I can create something in the cloud, but when you actually face this problem and this task, you just quickly realize that it's not that easy as it looks like. Uh, so let's say, okay, what about the problem itself? So what if, for example, an internet resource is not available from your current location, from your current from a country which you're in? Um, Obviously, there's some limitations in the country, like China or you know Northern Korea or Russia or whatever. Also, there a huge probability that the pricing options would be different from another location, especially for the airlines tickets or something like that. So that's a good idea to check the prices from mimic yourself as you are in another location. Also, some applications in the application store in Apple Store on Android or Windows can be or might not be available in your country. Also, um, uh, okay, we can subscribe on on some public service VPN service. Okay, or we can use even free ones actually. But there's some limitation, obviously, for all of them. For example, yes, you can use some Opera browser, for example. It is the built-in solution there, but obviously you have to use Opera for that. Or if you buy a subscription, probably for the best pricing options, you will have to pay for the whole year or at least monthly. So probably you don't need that. You would like to have something like on demand, just with the easier switching between different locations you would like to use. Uh, and also, okay, so if you decide that you would like to have some such kind of solution, and you know that okay, you have the Azure subscription already, But okay, you go to the Azure services and quickly realize that it's not that easy to set up, for example, point-to-site connection or site-to-site connection, because it's you have to put some effort setting up some certificates or settings of the environment and spinning up the Azure VPN gateway, for example. So that is a problem I would like to solve, and hopefully after this demo you will understand what is one of the possible solutions out there. Also, you can treat that as not the final solution. It's like an example how you can use Azure infrastructure as a service, um, or platform as a service. In our case, it will be infrastructure as a service, uh, to create such kind of services which is available on demand for your personal use. Okay, so we decide to spin up a VPN solution inside our Azure account. So what we have to do with that? So to spin up a virtual machine or service instance, so we have to create a VPN endpoint and set up network tunneling with the internet. So probably, yeah, and I would like to get it uh, like with minimum effort, like perfectly in a couple of clicks. Like set, put a link in a browser and push the button and just wait a few minutes and you're good to go. So I, I haven't find I haven't found any out of the box solution for that. Uh, so I decided to create something which would help me for this. And for now, I have the solution just which spins up my personal VPN service just in a couple of clicks. Uh, let me show how it works. Um, okay, let's first of all let's go through the possible solutions of that. I try to all, of course they are not the final list or the complete list of the possible solutions. Um, but um, but there are a few options there. So first of all, it depends on what you're familiar with. For example, you're familiar with Windows, and you would like to get just spin up a virtual machine with Windows and set up a VPN server for Windows, VPN server software for Windows in that virtual machine, and spin up the virtual machine in Azure, so you're good to go. So yeah, that would work. First of all, you will have to spin up the whole virtual machine and then manually install the VPN server software in that and set it up. uh, it's pretty straightforward if you already have some experience setting that up, but still, it would take some effort for the first place. And the second cons for that is it's just like a licensing and price. So obviously, Windows is not free, right? If you spin up a virtual machine, first of all, you would need more resources, more hardware resources for that virtual machine. And if you run Windows on that, and the licensing also would cost you something. Um, so um, what else? What the other options? So virtual machine plus Windows plus WSL. So it is a Linux infrastructure for Windows, and you can spin up VPN servers for Linux inside Windows. So now Windows have this built-in functionality supporting supporting Linux infrastructure running inside it. But still, you would need the uh, you would need the Windows virtual machine, and they still have the same pricing and licensing and hardware requirements. Um, to make it a little more easy, you might think about the Windows plus WSL plus Docker, because obviously, spinning up a Docker container would take a little less effort. Um, it's just enough to just set up at once. But it's still like a overkill for that, right? It's still Windows, it's still pricing. When we talk about the virtual machine plus Linux, okay, that, that's great. So it would cost you less, obviously, but you will still have to set up the Linux virtual machine and VPN server for Linux by yourself manually. Uh, to make it easier, you can spin up a Docker container inside virtual machine with Linux, uh, and actually, this is the option I would like to demonstrate now. Because actually, a lot of pros here. So you have a virtual machine with Linux plus Docker, a container with the VPN server software inside the Docker container. So it might be very easy to just spin up, and also it would cost like a few cents per hour for the virtual machine, because Linux requires uh, much less resources um, than Windows. Also, when we talk about Azure, actually, we might think about a, um, like platform as a service option available, which is called ACI, Azure Container Instances. And actually, this is the first question I was asked when I presented this solution to my friends, for example. So why not using Azure container instances? So it looks like great idea, like, because if we have already a Docker image, uh, why not to just use an instance of ACI running this container? The answer for this, so it's a good solution, but not for the networking stuff. I mean that if you want to spin up a VPN server inside this Docker image, uh, you have to run your Docker image container with a privilege mode. And Azure Container Instances does not support privilege mode for the Docker image, for the Docker containers. And this is the answer. So we cannot use ACI um, for VPN servers solutions, unfortunately. So that would be great. But as far as I remember, Microsoft declared that uh, they are not going uh, to support privilege mode for the Docker container inside ACI. Okay, from another side, Azure Container Instance or Kubernetes, no, sorry, not Azure, Azure Kubernetes Services, sorry. And Kubernetes itself supports privilege mode for the container. So we can spin up Kubernetes with the Docker container images for our solution. It will work, but it will be definitely an overkill for that. So spin up uh, the whole Kubernetes cluster just for spinning up one Docker container in a pod for your VPN instance, like pretty complex, and it's definitely overkill. Also, we can use like a PaaS, platform as a service, for Azure VPN Gateway, Azure VPN Gateway. So it actually, this is like a built-in Azure VPN solution, uh, which is intended to be used for connecting a local network to the Azure network. But for this purpose, actually, so for our task is just spin up a VPN server which we can connect to and use it and mimic our location as we are in different countries. So the Azure VPN gateway is like an overkill for that also. Not overkill. It's too complex. It's too complicated to set up. Because, for example, if you think about site-to-site connection, it's definitely overkill and too complex to set up. Or if you just have a laptop and you want to connect to a VPN service, if you think about it point-to-site, that is still like a complexity, because you have to spin up a Azure VPN gateway and set it up, and then you have to set up your client in your laptop to connect to this VPN, and then you have to set up the gateway to make this forced tunneling for for the network packages to connect to the internet. And also the pricing would be would be pretty big, because Azure VPN Gateway is a service that's pretty expensive for some reason. So it is very powerful, and it is like for enterprise level. But for our task, it's like well, too expensive and too complex. And from my opinion, maybe for you guys, it's not that easy. But I, I would prefer I would prefer a simple solution for that. Okay, let's get back to our particular our particular possible solution. So what we are going to do there is um, last point. Okay, so let's say we already have our Azure subscription. Inside Azure subscription, we would create a resource group. Inside the resource group, there there is a subnet. Subnet is like a basic stuff inside Azure, network infrastructure, basic instance. So inside the subnet, we would like to have a virtual machine with Linux inside, and to and in order to make it simpler and easy to maintain and set up, I would go for the Docker image, Docker container inside this Linux machine, because actually my goal is to make it a couple of. I understand that Docker is a little more a separate level of complexity on top of the Linux virtual machine. So we can definitely go for the for the complete installation without any Docker involved. But Docker make it simpler, because we can just put our Docker image and Docker Hub and spin it up using literally one line of code um, in the command line inside the virtual machine. So that is, I would say that is a great solution, because of the complexity. Okay, so inside virtual machine we have a Docker uh, and software of VPN server inside the Docker container. For this purpose, I will use SoftEther VPN, and the reason for that is, first of all, it is open source and free, so we can just we easily use it as we want. Uh, it doesn't have an official Docker image and Docker Hub, but there is alternatives, and there is one which is pretty popular, and I will show you what is there about that. Also, what is there? So inside a subnet, we would get a network adapter connected with a network security group, which will play the role of like a firewall for our network. Uh, it will open some particular ports to connect to our virtual machine from our VPN clients and from our management solutions. So our VPN clients will use L2TP pre-shared key protocol for that. So it's like why I have chosen this protocol is because of the simplicity, actually, and it is simple to set up, and it's pretty secure. Also, it's still secure. So you can use a different options. You can use either a built-in Windows VPN client, for example, or you can use OpenVPN client. You can use it from your laptop or from a smartphone or from desktop computer. So it is just very common solution in this case. And also, we can use the SoftEther VPN server manager to connect and control the servers for the first place and monitor it and have all of the statistics available there. So it seems like a pretty much complete solution for that. Also, as a benefit of that, we will get the on-demand I would say availability. It means that as we have this virtual machine in our subscription, we can turn it off and turn it on anytime, and we will get the billing per minute for our subscription. It means that actually, if you just need your VPN connection, you can just turn it on in the Azure side, use it for a few minutes, and turn it off, and actually pay uh, like nothing for it, because it will cost something like a few cents per hour. Um, okay, hopefully it makes sense to you. If you have some questions, you can just. I think that you have the ability to create some questions, right? So, but we will get to the questions in the end of the demonstration anyway. Um, yeah, let's get further. So, what we will use. So first of all, in order to make it like a couple of clicks in installation or deployment, a couple of 2-click deployment, uh, we would use Azure Resource Manager, yeah, or ARM. Um, this is the slide from like official um, Microsoft resources. Uh, it, actually, Resource Manager is something like a basic module inside the Azure, which is responsible for creating resources, and we can use a templates with that. And template actually is very powerful thing. So instead of um, creating manually any of the resource, we can use a template. So how it looks like is, let me show um, like that. Um, so for example, you just create a resource. You choose compute and virtual machine. So this is like a common way how to create a resource using a portal. Of course, we have different options to use um, to use a Cloud Shell or PowerShell or Azure CLI, whatever, from the command line. But the portal is like a UI for that, right? So we use a resource group, some and that we create a name. We choose the region, username, like test user, uh, password. Uh, so I have to generate something strong. Some password. Yeah, give me a second. Okay. So silicon bound ports, confirm license because we are on Windows, and choose some options, management, diagnostics, advanced, custom data tags. Um, let me show you like a more example more close to our demonstrations. Um, create a virtual machine. Create a so okay. We'll create another machine. So virtual machine. Okay, so we just selected an image with already with Ubuntu already installed there. We created resource source. Create resource group. Next. Okay. Virtual machine name. Just networking management advanced. And this is important thing here. So there is an option which is called extension, and we can choose an extension which will be installed after we spin up the virtual machine. And actually, what we need is custom script for Linux. So we just create it, and yeah, it's just a comment. So we can just set up, not set up, put some Linux command which will be executed inside the virtual machine after the virtual machine is created, and it will be as a separate deployment after the main deployment of virtual machine. So if we create this, review and create, and this actually, if we just, what is the validation passed? Okay, so now we can push the create button. But actually, what we're interested in is like this one: download the template for automation, and and actually, this is the baseline I used to create my own template to create my solution. So what is important here is actually this is the template for the Azure Resource Manager, and all of the resources it is there, including that like network interface within some properties and parameters available, the virtual machine itself, um, and the script with a command there, and the network security group, I suppose, yeah, IP, a subnet, network security group, um, this okay, network, and all of this stuff. So this is the baseline, and this this is the basic stuff for our solution, and I will show you how I just modified it to make it work. So this is how to create a template. Uh, so how to modify this? So there is parameters and variables, and actually it is very very important stuff. Very important to understand the difference between the parameters and variables inside the template. The parameters is something we can provide from outside when we call the template. Variables are like internal data inside the template. So you can think about the template as a script which is using some variables during the execution. Um, so let me show you my actual template. So this is my template which is hosted now in the GitHub, and this is my repositories of VPN, and actually this is the template. So what I use there is admin username, admin password, VPN. So these are all the parameters which you can use, and also there's some parameters which has like default values, and uh, that is because I would like to have this template working without any parameters set up, just out of the box. So I would like this template to generate all of the requirements, all of the requirements, required stuff for my service, without uh, without setting anything. But I have the ability, to modify the parameter. But actually, I don't have to do that. So that is why I have something like a unique string here based on the resource group ID. So I generate the password there and names of the resources also, and I use this inside inside the mm, inside the template. And also, for example, this is the common template which will be actually executed inside the virtual machine. And as you see, first of all, I installed the Docker engine, and then I run a container with some environment variables, which will actually spin up the SoftEther VPN there. Um, And also the key part here in my template is the outputs. So actually all of the values which are generated inside the template during the deployment will be outputted as the output of the deployment. So let me show you how it works. Um, yeah, but as you saw, just right now, I'm hosting my template in the GitHub. Uh, Actually, it is very powerful just because what I can use is like press this raw button here and get the actual contents of the template. And actually, this URL I'm going to be using for my um, um, from my how to say as my entry point for this deployment. But you can use any persistent storage. You can use your own site or GitHub or Azure Storage or whatever. You just need a URL pointing to the content of the template. Also, one thing you have to think about is the Azure VM side. So comparing to AWS, for example, for Amazon uh, Web Services, uh, in Asia we don't have the ability to particular especially select some hardware resources. We have to select the virtual machine size, and there are a lot of options out there. So sizes, virtual machine in Asia, like general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized. So, you can use even the calculator, um, pricing calculator for this. Like this is you see here Azure Microsoft pricing calculator. You can use select virtual machines and estimate uh, your your monthly or daily bills uh, for for this. So this is your estimation. So you picture the region, operating system, type, standards, instance, and so on, and so on. And it will estimate how much it will cost per month or per day. So for our purpose, I will use standard B1. Uh, B B is the burstable series, so it is a size in Asia which has interesting functionality. So just imagine if you have some spikes during the day. and most of the day, like a few hours, the virtual machine is idle, or doing almost nothing, and then at the end of the day, for maybe half an hour, it will have that like a huge workload. So during the day, when we doesn't do anything, it just collects some points and then spend these points uh, during the peak hours, handling much more workload for this. So it's pretty interesting functionality there, and it's pretty cheap actually in Azure. So I think that in this kind, yeah, I see here that be a series, it will cost something like $10 per month, and as I said, you can just turn it on and turn it off anytime and use it like per minute, or even you can set up like automatic turning off in some particular time to save money. So actually, your actual cost would be like much less than that. Okay, so let's get to the actual creating the service. So as I showed you uh, this one, so this is like a raw content of my template. So what I should do is like escape this. So to URL encode this, and it will looks like that. You see HTTPS percent or something like that. So it's just like a URL encoded part. So this is the um, common part, and from this is my template with URL encode, and that's it. Uh, Sorry. Uh-huh. Okay. So I can just use this one. And let's get to the browser. Um, so uh, it will show this dialog here, and you see here most of the parameters are already set up. Also, the virtual machine side is already selected. All of this is your subscription, so you have to choose one, and also you have to select the source group. So actually, this is all you have to do to just spin up the service to select the resource group. Um, um, One more thing is, if you haven't logged in yet, it will obviously ask you for login. So definitely, it will use your own subscription there. Okay, so we create a group like a test VPN resource group. Okay, and that's it. Validation passed, and great. So actually, that is all you have to do. So just we're now waiting a few minutes. It will take maybe up to now 3 or 5 minutes to be executed. Um, you see here, it has already created some resources, and now it has created a virtual machine. Um, um, Also, what is the other option how to create it? So if you don't want to use Portal, or you would like to have some automation for that, you can use Azure CLI or PowerShell, whatever you want. It's just it's like a two operations for that. First of all, you have to create resource group, so AZ group create, and then AZ deployment group create. So deployment is the actual module for the deployment creation. Deployment group means that you create a deployment inside this inside a particular resource group, because there is just deployment, not related to the resource group out there. But we would like to create a deployment inside the resource group, and then use create and provide the parameters. So this is the name of the resource group we just created, and this is the name of the deployment and template you raised here. So, but this is the option without parameters. But actually, you can use the arguments as well to customize the template, and you can also use even the parameter file for that purpose. And okay, let me show you how it looks like. This is the okay. This is the template. It might look something like that. So parameters JSON, and you can specify the parameters like that. So parameters, and then parameter name and parameter value here. Or like that. So without file, just you can specify like that, just in line. Deployment output. So this is the key point after our deployment is succeeded. Okay, it's still being created, but I can show you already created one. I think this one probably deployment. Yeah, this is how it will look like after the deployment succeeded. So there are two deployments. This is the main one, and this is for the custom script actually spinning up the Docker container here. So we go here, and the output here. Okay, deployment succeeded. Cool. So we go to the resource group here, and this is deployment, and this is our deployment and outputs here. And we see here all of the parameters required for our VPN connections already there. So this is the username and password for the admin connection to the virtual machine. This is the URL for administrator for the SSH connection. This is the actual address. Protocol, pre-shared key, username, and passwords. How it looks like, how to connect that. So let me show you. So this is a virtual machine spin up in Azure also. So we go here, we go to VPN, add VPN connection, provide a built-in connection name, my VPN, something like that. Server name or address is the address we just copied from the output. VPN type is pre-shared key, TTP pre-shared key, VPN here, this one. Username VPN user. And VPN admin password here. Remember, save. Also, so just to explain. So if I just push connect here, I will lose the connection to my virtual machine, because by default it will replace the network connection, right? So that to demonstrate to demo the actual connection here is we go here, change adapter options here. We go here, network. Advanced. Yeah, I set it off. Default gateway and remote network, just not to to break my current connection to the virtual machine. In your scenario, in real life scenario, you wouldn't do this because you need this, right, to mimic the location. And now you connect connection, and okay, that's it. So we're on the VPN now. So as you can see, we just use a couple of clicks to spin up the service and connect to that. Also, what you can do, you can just download SoftEther VPN Server Manager and use the same way to connect to it. So new setting, um, the name of the connection here, and host name uh, should be the same, and and user password the same. You put it here, put OK, and connect. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So you see here, for example, it's a service status. Where we can see it like a statistics of that. So we can actually, this is administration for our service. So that's it. And this service is just running inside the Docker container of our virtual machine, which we just spinned up in a couple of seconds. Waiting for a couple of minutes for that. So that I think that's kind of very very great, powerful feature in Azure. Okay, so we have a few minutes left also. So a few more words about that. So this is administration. So this is the SoftEther support. So you can download the server administration stuff on all of the like official SoftEther VPN software. Also, the actual Docker image is this one. As I said, it's not official, but it has like millions of downloads. You see here, it is this one, and this is the SoftEther VPN server Docker image, which was let me on. Mm. So this image is just created from. So there is a declaration of that somewhere. Uh, Something about that it was built from the official source code of the SoftEther server. So I just used that one. Also, okay, this is download page, administration UI, and a couple of things you can think of further, right? So what else? You can use the parameter file instead of inline intervalers in the command call if you would like to customize your template. You can connect to the server using SSH. So you can use it's your virtual machine, right? So you can still use this virtual machine as you want, maybe to add some other roles to that, not just VPN server, because you still pay for it, right? Um, Also, you can set automatic shutdown to save money. It is, as you remember, you can do it just through the portal in the providers of the virtual machine. You can just put some particular time to switch it off to save money. Also, you can start and stop the service from the Azure portal mobile app. That's a pretty powerful thing. So you can, if you need a VPN, you can just open the mobile application for Azure VPN. So there's some limitations to you cannot do everything as you can do from the portal, but you can definitely turn on and turn off the virtual machines from there. So also, you can set up some scripts, for example, to automate the switching on and off process like that. Also, you can monitor the server activity using the administration tools. Also, set a strong password. This is like a normal advice. From my experience, if you set like a simple password uh, for your VPN server, it will be immediately attacked by some botnets or whatever, and it will be hacked, and your server will be obviously put in some public VPN service list. So obviously you don't want this to be happened. Um, and okay, create your own VPN public service and make money from it. So it's like a job, but why not? No, you can you can create your own public service. Okay, questions. That I think that we're out of time already. I will provide final confirmation digital launch of VPN was launch when getting fresh press. Uh, Final confirmation digital launch of the virtual machine. Um, uh, the main idea here is if a user doesn't have, okay, the question is, so if a user doesn't have access to PowerShell or Azure, probably, but what should you do to create a virtual machine? As I understand the question. Um, I think that if user doesn't have a direct access, you can create some kind of service to automate this one. So I have some example like that, some requirements from some customers, and we created kind of a self-service self-service portal, something like that. So it was like internal portal inside the organization, providing some user interface to the users, with it, uh, and the user had some very limited permissions inside this portal. But when a user clicks the button, the script that, under the hood, of the portal itself, uh, does all of the required stuff, because the internal credentials used inside the portal was enough to do all of the stuff, for creation and administering these resources. So user doesn't have to have this resource. Also, another option, user have the access to PowerShell in any time. Also, you can limit the access to PowerShell. So you can add a user access to PowerShell, but with very limited functionality. PowerShell supports this as well. Um, you can even limit the execution of PowerShell commands by some particular commands. And actually, this is another option for that. So you can create a separate module of PowerShell with some particular commandlets, and make this module available, and allow a user to run only commandlets from this particular module, and this commandlets would just communicate to some. So yes, the answer, you have probably to have to put some effort to creating this kind of infrastructure for the users, but it but it's something like, anyway. I think there is no like a very simple solution for that. Yeah. Um, Hopefully I ask your questions. Okay, question two. Outside of client setup, is there any difference between using wildcard to access resource in the home network versus using SSH tunnel? Um, that's an interesting question. Outside, difference between using wildcard to access resources on the home network. It's the question about the accessing the resources from the home network versus using SSH. I think that okay. SSH tunneling. If you can set up the SSH tunneling, actually, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what it is about SSH tunneling, to be honest. Um, if you can set up something else, something like that. So as I said, I'm more the like a Windows guy. So I don't have too much experience with it. With Linux and some complex SSH like features, for example. So I just can admit that I don't really, I'm not really good at that. But that is that is the reason I created this kind of solution using this pretty simple scenarios. But if there is some other options with some kind of tunneling, and you can do it with the same way of the automation and simplicity, that's great. So I would be happy to know about that. But the my solution and my demonstration actually is it's all about the simplicity and the usability. So if I want to use some kind of complex stuff like a stitch or tunneling or whatever, obviously yes, I can do it. But the question is it possible to create the same way of automation and 2 clicks deployment on that? So that's my understanding. Yeah, sorry if I didn't ask you questions for that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, we run out of time. Thank you very much for attending. Hopefully it was useful for you. And